Should have a request to start video. Hello. I'm just going to get you to, should have a request to start your audio. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you very, very well.
Lovely, lovely. You had a nice week. You had a nice week?
Oh, yes, sorry, I didn't understand. Yes, yes, very, very nice.
Good.
Very filled of things, doing many things. And you?
Yeah, but busy with work and everything, but quite good. Yeah.
Great.
Uh,
Very good. Very, very good.
Hello, Ian.
Hey, hi,
Ciao.
hi, Carla. How are you, my dear?
Oh,
You
so
look,
beautiful to see you.
you look wonderful.
You look so handsome, as
Oh.
always.
We're all a bit older, but it's been many, many years, isn't it?
Well, we are all older, all of us, but
Yeah,
that's life, and we are still living, and we should be
yes,
thankful.
absolutely. All right. Well, these are quite fun, Carla. We just answer a number of silly questions and everybody
Yes.
has a good time. And Philip there is in charge, as you know. All right.
So you had a nice week, Ian.
Yeah, not bad.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you. You?
Yeah, lovely. Busy, but good.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people have logged on, so I'll just have a quick look to see if anybody's having any problems, and then we shall get cracking.
Yeah, do you remember my mother?
I don't.
She was there, you remember, and eating mussels with your girlfriend then all the time in
All
Florence.
right.
Oh, we had a nice time,
We
didn't
did have a
we?
nice time. We did have a nice
Yes.
time. Yeah. All right. So, Philip, are we off?
Okay, I think we're ready to go, guys. So thank you very much for joining us for this event for appointment in Florence. For those that want to just either just listen to the chat as it goes and just watch the interview, or if you want to watch the episode in the background while we chat, just to perhaps stir up some questions, some thoughts that people might have, then please do so. If you want to watch it along, I'll do a countdown from 5 and then we'll press play together. So if you just want to pause on the opening shot of the episode, which is the mountains in Cortina, and then we'll press play and we'll begin. So I'll just give you a few seconds to do that. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and play. So it should be noted, first of all, that this is Cortina that appears in the beginning of the episode, but of course you didn't shoot there, did you, Ian? It was somewhere else, I'm guessing, for the
No,
snow scenes.
well, we shot in Cortina for this. There was a previous episode where we did a skiing snow episode, and this beginning was tacked on at the end. But I suspect it probably was in Cortina, I would imagine, because I don't think we went anywhere else that was snowy. Well, Carla, you know your Italy. That looks like Cortina to you, does it?
Looks like Cortina to me.
Yes.
We were working all in Florence, but
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's always tricky to know because, of course, you use stock footage and some of it's very cleverly sort of edited together, so sometimes it can fool the audience.
Yeah.
So I was just what was quite interesting I thought about the opening of this episode is that you'll reveal when it goes into the titles, it's not the usual somebody comes up to you and they say your name and you say your name. You think it's going to do that, and then it goes into this action piece.
Yeah.
Was it quite conscious from your point of view, but also the crew that you want to make it a little bit different from Roger's series?
I don't know. This particular episode was directed by a man called Peter Sasdy, who did several episodes, and I'd worked with him before on some BBC thing, and he and I had problems, to be honest with you, and he might just have done this just to be different, you know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Well,
I had
Um,
problems with him, but not in that episode for another movie.
really?
Yes.
Did
right.
you? Yeah. Yeah.
Not
We'll hear
in
about
this
that later.
episode, in for a movie, for another
Mm,
movie.
mhm,
I had problems. So
mm. Yeah.
understand you.
He was brilliant, you know. He was absolutely brilliant. I did an extraordinary, wonderful BBC 4-part series, and I just thought he was wonderful. And then
Yeah.
when he came onto the Saint and had a film camera and a crew and locations and things, he sort of changed, and he became this sort of guy who had made every decision before we came onto the set. Everything has set and planned in his head, and nobody could ever make him change his mind about anything. Including the lighting cameraman. I mean, the lighting cameraman would say he's doing things now. He refuses to change. He will not alter anything. I don't know if that was your experience, Carla. Was it with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very rigid about it, and it was quite difficult after a while. Anyway.
Very tough guy.
Yeah.
He was Hungarian. Oh, he is, I think.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Peter's still around, but I can't locate him. I have to locate.
Better not now.
So do you remember, Carla, how you got cast in this episode? How did it come about for you?
It was Peter Sasdi who called me up because I was a big star in Hungary then. I made 4 movies. They were very, very successful. One was won the bear, the silver bear in Berlino. One was nominated for the Oscar for foreign film but didn't win. And the other one went to the Cannes Film Festival, had the award from the jury. And so at a certain point, I did run away from Hungary because I didn't want to stay there. But Peter Sasny knew me since there. And he did ask me to come and play with him. And he told me, you'll find a great actor. And I did. It was a pleasure working with you, you know.
Well,
really.
you know, it's funny, we didn't have all that many scenes together though, Carla, did we? It would have been nice to have had more, but we didn't have that many really. You had more with other people, yeah.
But it was nice what we did.
Yeah.
And it was nice.
Yeah. We talked about Leslie Charteris before in that he was strongly critical of Return of the Saint, but also the original Roger Moore Saint as well. He always was sort of writing him with suggestions and things. And one of the things that he did constantly suggest was that the Saint always seemed to be caught in the middle of something. He seemed to be a victim of fate, and then he got involved, whereas he kind of wanted him to be a bit more investigative, sort of to investigate things and to chase ideas. And was that something that Ian you would have liked to have explored a bit more in the series?
Yes, I mean, I always thought it was kind of funny that you shouldn't be the Saint's friend because terrible things always happened around the Saint. People died or got robbed or anything. You didn't want anything to do with this guy because bad luck followed him everywhere. Yet the original Saint, you know, the 1920s Saint, when it was first written, was a very different character. I mean, he would kill people quite cheerfully if he didn't think that they were good guys. He robbed. He was quite a vicious character, really, and he got softened over the years. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was always a puzzle as to how he made his money. There were links to insurance companies, and he saved insurance companies money and banks money and things like that. But it was always a bit of a mystery as to how exactly he made his money. Yeah. Again, you didn't ask questions like that because, after all, this show was really made primarily for 14-year-old boys. You know, this was the audience for this kind of thing.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just coming up to the scene when one of the villains jumps out and almost gets hit by the train. I thought that was a very, very good stunt.
Yes, it was a good stunt, wasn't it? Yes, I wasn't there for that day, but it was a very good stunt, I thought. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that one.
No. It's quite sort of a dark opening as well, with somebody being shot and the aftermath of that. Quite sort of dark in tone. Did you enjoy those episodes that were a bit sort of dark tea?
Yes, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm quite pleased with the fact when I watched it again a couple of days ago, and I hadn't seen it, Carlos, since it first came out. So a lot of it took me by surprise, and a lot of it I'd forgotten. You know, you do after all these years, you forget. Oh, well, I don't remember making that scene. I don't remember doing that. But I do remember when we were in Cortina, I was not allowed to ski. And I was a skier. I wasn't a great skier, but I could ski. I'd skied all my life. and I wasn't allowed to. It was absolutely forbidden because I might have broken my leg or anything, and everything would have stopped.
Of course.
And but there was that one little scene at the beginning of the movie where I ski into shot and I stop and I turn around and it is me. So I was quite pleased with that. I thought, oh, they let me do that at least. That's good.
And do you remember the gentleman who played the ill-fated Christian, Brian Pinrow? Do you remember him? Obviously a long time ago, but just wonder whether he was a nice actor to work with.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes. He's lovely. Yeah.
And also a lot of the actors in this story don't seem to sort of appear in many UK productions. So was it because was there sort of a different in terms of how Italian actors and crews work in terms of, say, the UK? Was it a bit was pluses and any minuses to that, Ian?
Yes. I mean, what do you think, Carla? I mean, Carla, have you worked much in the UK or in the United States?
In the UK, I've done Space 1999.
Right, right.
And in USA, I've done Steppenwolf with Max von Sydow.
Yeah. Did
Actually,
you? But I mean, what the question is, do you notice a difference between working in Italy and working in England or America? Because there is one major difference, of course, that and you and I will know this, is that in Italy at that time, I don't know if they took no direct sound. They would take a guide track, so you knew what you said, but it wasn't usable on the finished film, which meant that every single line in every single Italian episode that we all shot, it was always put on afterwards. It was all dubbed on afterwards by the actors. You very rarely took any direct sound at all. Even in interior scenes, they rarely took direct sound. So that was something I became quite good at dubbing my own voice. Because I did a lot of Italian episodes, and every single one we had to dub. And I know you did. You must have spent times in
what
dubbing
we
studios.
did was direct. It was not. It was direct sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was direct sound.
Oh.
It is the original sound. What we did.
Okay.
Absolutely. I didn't dub anything. It was there. It was. I did speak a good English then. Not
very
now.
good. Very good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good now. Pretty
No,
good.
okay. Yeah.
Carla, when you did things like Space 1999 and it was released in different countries, would you dub, say, the Italian version of that, or would it just been
No,
somebody
no.
else
We
who
did it
got
in
in?
English immediately, and I did dub the Italian version in Italian.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, it's always nice when
The
actors
sound
do
was
that.
in English. Yeah, like ours, like Return of the Same.
Right.
And Carla, did you always want to get into into film and TV? Was that your ambition as a child?
Well, you know that I'm a writer, and I was forced to go into was not the business before because my family is a family of poets. So since when I was a child, they were gathering together and talking about Torquato Tasso and Leonardo and singing, you know. And my grandfather and my grandmother, when they were fighting in verses, you know. So the one who made the mistake was the wrong one, was the villain. So I was, and my mother was writing theater for kids. And of course, I was there all the time. And that's it. So that's how came by itself, like a river, you know, like a spring.
And was it so Carla, when you were guesting on shows like Space 99, Return of the Saint, was it always quite exciting going into joining an established production, or was it sometimes quite nerve-wracking to be joining a new team? And did you like
I don't
dropping in?
did understand well, but it's very nice to know new people. I was very, very happy to know Ian. Really, really. My mother was crazy about Ian. And you gave her, well, I could not be crazy about you because I had a lovely husband. And but I remember my mother was talking to everybody about you, you know, the most
Oh, bless her.
handsome man in the world. But you were very nice with her. And I really thank you. Maybe you didn't realize it. I had very, very nice moments working with you. It was very good. And I think we are very good in the few scenes
Yes,
that
yes, I agree. We
don't.
are.
Well, you are, of course.
No, no, you are too.
Uh,
I
just
always impressed, I've never worked in another language. Well, that's not strictly true, but to work in a language that isn't your first language is always very, very impressive, I think.
It
You
is.
know, because I mean, how do you know where the emphasis, the stresses in the words lie, and all those kinds of things? And I was always very, very impressed by it, and I've never had to do it, and I'm glad to say that I wouldn't want to because we English are very bad at learning foreign languages, aren't we? We're other languages. We're very bad at it, and we're lazy. So it's always impressive when you find an actor or an actress who is fluent in a second language and is able to express all the stuff that the English can do in a language that is not their own. It's very impressive.
Well, when I was doing movies in English, of course, I spoke better because I was studying it,
Yeah,
my role. And so that's different. I was ready for that, I think.
yeah, yes. But it's just harder work, isn't it? It takes more time. It's harder work to get it right, isn't it?
I know, but it's nice.
Yeah.
My husband was American. Unfortunately, I lost him in Los Angeles
Mm.
because I was living in Los Angeles, Ian. And
Right.
I come back in for Christmas time,
Mm.
and so he was from there. He was a writer and director, so it was easy for me to. I had a coach. I had the
Right.
coach.
You had a coach. Yes, I understand.
just a bit of trivia. The airport sequence just after Ian flies in, there is the voice of the airport assistant is Robert Reety, who did an awful lot of dubbing for shows like Persuaders and
Robert
stuff. And
Rietti was
also,
that?
Yeah, Robert Reety, yeah.
Oh, right.
Did you ever directly work with Robert, Ian?
No, but he used to be. He was, Jack Hawkins, the great Jack Hawkins, the actor, who in later in life had a laryngectomy because he had cancer of the throat and he lost his voice box. And Robert Rietti was one of the actors who was able to revoice him, to dub his voice. He could do a very good Jack Hawkins impression. So Robert Rietti, I believe, was one of those actors who could do Jack Hawkins' voice, for him. Yeah.
He also did quite a few of the early Bond films. He was the voice of Largo in Thunderball, the
Right.
main villain. I just wanted to mention James Aubrey, who plays Ingo, Carla's love interest in the episode.
I was just
First of all,
thinking
Carla,
about
do you remember James?
Yes, of course. And he was a great actor. Do you remember the movie that he made when he was a child with Peter Brook? It was the Man of the Flyers. Oh my God. Il Signore delle Mosche. The Lord of the
Lord of
Mosquitoes.
the Flies. Lord of the Flies.
Yes, it's fantastic. And I'm so sad that he died so soon. Do you know why, Ian?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't. I mean, I hardly knew him at all because he had all his scenes with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
I
true.
knew of him certainly. I mean, he was a respected English actor. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it's such a nice human being. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, he was only 62 when he died.
Right.
That was in 2010. It was pancreatitis.
Oh,
Pancreatitis. Yeah.
right.
Um, but again, one of those faces that does crop up in a lot of English shows. Did Sweeney, Doctors, Lovejoy, Spy Game with Walt Redford, the Brad Pitt film. So recognizable
Oh no,
face.
he worked a lot. James did. Yeah.
Hmm. I think quite a sympathetic character as well. Sort of something you can. It's very much a story that could still be told, isn't it? Somebody who gets radicalized and kind of realizes he's out of his depth, fundamentally.
about Stuart Wilson, is he okay?
Yes, I think
Stuart Wilson's still going. Yeah.
he lives in Georgia now for some reason. Lives in not Georgia, Russia, but Georgia in America. I think
I
that's
am.
the last I heard of him. Is that's where he was living? Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find him. But yeah, of course, everybody knows Stuart Wilson for Lethal Weapon, Mask of Zorro, Hot Fuzz, the brilliant sort of English
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah.
What was Stuart Wilson like to work with?
I
I
was
liked him very
terrified.
because he was very nice to me. Well, Carla, you go first.
Charlie, yes,
Oh, I was very scared. He wanted to kill me, you know. And Ian saved me. He came, ran up and beat him up. And thank you, Ian, for saving my life. Thank you forever.
No, I was very fond of Stuart simply because I was having trouble with the director, and I was actually quite depressed during some of the shooting of that particular episode. And Stuart was terrific. He was very encouraging, and he kept saying to me, "This is only a week, for heaven's sake. It'll all be over in a week. And this has nothing to do with you, Carl." It was just that Peter. I just was having a hard time with Peter, and Stuart was very encouraging and very helpful to me. Actually, I was very grateful to him. Yeah.
So thank God. I didn't
Yeah.
realize you were miserable then, Ian.
No, I mean I wasn't, Carla. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't really miserable. I was staying at the Excelsior Hotel, the greatest hotel in
We
Florence.
were staying there too.
Yeah, beautiful hotel in this wonderful city. It was just, and the story was fine. And in fact, I didn't have to work terribly hard on that episode. If you look at the episode, my involvement in it is in fact less than usual. There's a lot of stuff on you and on Stuart and on James, and there's a tremendous amount of stuff that I'm not actually in. So I actually got a rest occasionally, which was nice for me. So no, I wasn't miserable. I was just in a bad temper occasionally because of this
Oh
direct.
no, you think you were nice all the time.
Well, I was nice.
Really, it's very not so easy to find actors that you work really well with them. You know it very well. It depends.
So were you able to do some sightseeing, Ian, on your time off? Did you enjoy going around there?
Yes. You know what I think, Carla, maybe you agree with me about this, but one of the things that struck me when I was looking at the episode again was we were in Florence, one of the most beautiful cities of Italy. Frankly, from this episode, you wouldn't know it. I didn't think that the locations were even a little bit impressive, really. I mean, yes, the gardens at the end were gorgeous and lovely, but a lot of the time we could have been in any Italian city. And I thought, why did we not use Florence properly? We just didn't, and I don't know why. But it was very pleasant being there, yes. I'd been there before many years ago because my sister had been at university in Florence. And I visited her when I was in my late teens in Florence, yes. So I knew the city a little bit, but not all that well. But I was disappointed looking at again how few landmarks we featured. We didn't feature. Why didn't we feature the Ponte Vecchio? Why didn't we feature the Arno? Why didn't we feature some of them? Yeah, exactly.
You know that my father is from there.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the pleasure even to be with my father those days. I was very, very happy. And such the beauties of Florence you couldn't taste. And what was strange is that he made characters like they're not in Florence, I mean, like the boy who says, "I know everything." It's very good actor. I don't think he acts anymore since then.
No.
No, because he's a banker, I think.
Oh, is he a banker? Good for him.
And what else? And he made some Neapolitan accents in some people. So, and too many car drivings all the time.
Yes.
And, so, I mean, I agree with you, and I hope he's not listening to us.
Oh, well, I mean, no, I doubt. Yeah.
We're watching the encounter now with Stuart Wilson. He takes the washing line. It's quite a sort of a very dark moment, and it's not a comic book territory. It's quite a sort of violent scene. Would you have rehearsed this, Carla? Was something that you were? It's quite an intense sequence between you and Stuart. Was it a more complicated scene to do?
The one where he wants to kill me?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
No, it was not complicated because I knew the saint was coming to save me. So I was very had faith in him, I knew it. But I liked it. It's a nice scene, isn't it? And he's a very good actor, Stuart. He's very good, no?
Mm,
Yes.
Um,
yeah.
yes, really.
I
I like
think
him I like him a lot as an actor.
oh, yeah, he's done some wonderful things, hasn't he? And I think it's very well shot as well, and that you make good use of the balcony, and you sort of the threat of potentially him put potentially throwing you over the side of the building. And of course, Ian, you got to go on the rooftop, which must have been quite exciting to do a few stunts.
Yeah, yeah, all that stuff. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
When you were fighting with Stuart, Ian, when you were
Yes.
beat up, you were thinking you were beating Peter instead. You had your revenge.
Yes.
I was wondering how much attention filming got when you were abroad, Ian. Was it quite difficult to would they sort of close the roads? Was a lot of people interested in the filming, or did they kind of just sort of let you do your thing?
Yes, I guess we did. I mean, we obviously we had police protection, and we had. I mean, I remember an incident, in fact, up in Cortina when we were shooting the skiing episode, which we tacked a little bit of skiing onto the end of this one, on the beginning of this one. But I remember there was an episode on a road high up in a Cortina mountain. We were shooting. We had a full crew there, and also we had a policeman there, and a car came barreling through, zooming along, and he didn't take any notice of the stop signs and the people stopping him. But eventually he was forced to stop because we were all in the middle of the road shooting. And the policeman, the Italian policeman, went to this man's car and he pulled out his gun, his pistol, and he pointed it at the man's head and said, "Turn your engine off now." I've never seen that before. Certainly not. I mean, I've seen it in America, of course, since then. Up to that point, I had never seen a policeman pull a gun and point it and put the muzzle of the gun at a man's head. So yeah, we used to have people watching, but not anything quite as dramatic as that. Yeah.
Wow.
And so Carla, having made a lot of film and TV in Italy, do you find the locals are very interested in filmmaking like they would be in, say, in the UK? What's the kind of relationship between onlookers and sort of location filming over there?
Well, I played, I think, like Ian, in many, many, many places. For example, The Count of Monte Cristo was a French production, but we did it in Portugal, and was an international production also. And we move, we actors. I'm a writer now, I'm not, but I'm an actress too because I'm going to do a play on the stage. But
Oh, good for you. Well done.
you like theater? You like
I'm impressed. Wonderful.
it's the best, no? I'm writing the story. I'm through it. It is the wife of Puccini, the wife of Giacomo Puccini, Elvira, and it's a great story. And we will do the tournée, with music, with the soprano also, and
Oh, nice.
I want to show you my book on peace. Can you see it?
Oh, how beautiful that is. The Valkyrie of Peace. Oh, how lovely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Better in Amazon.
I look at it from the Valkyrie of Peace. Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. It's the first woman who won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Right.
She didn't want the First World War to happen. And it's strange to say I'm fighting for peace, but that's what I'm doing. And this one is the new book coming out.
Il vento seduttore.
Yeah, the seductive one. Well,
Right.
You are inside my book also.
Ah, bless
Yeah.
you. Nice.
And, I'll send you a copy.
Thank you.
And of course, Ian, you're no stranger to the printed word, are you?
Well, now I'm going to have to get up for a second and go and bring her my book now. Hang on a second.
Only fair, yeah.
Only fair if we're selling our books. We're selling our books on the thing.
That's great. That's great, Ian. I want it. I want it.
Enough selling.
I could change books.
Yeah, you swap, yeah. Yeah,
Um,
and you were talking about people watching movies, you know, the crowds that would gather. Yeah, I remember in England once a little boy came up to me and he tugged me by the sleeve, and I looked down at him and I said yes, and he said, "Yeah, Mister, when's the real Roger Moore coming?"
Oh, I
Which
don't
made me
believe
laugh.
it. I
Yeah,
don't believe
yeah.
it.
When's the real Roger Moore coming?
Yeah.
Carla, Carla, had you watched the Roger Moore series? Were you aware of the Saint? No.
No, well, I'm sorry, I was not before.
Yeah.
I didn't know before. I knew it after.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of the actresses that, and well, and the guest stars in these episodes provide their own wardrobes and their own costumes. Again, Carla, would you have what would it have been your clothing that you're wearing in your scenes?
You know, I'm afraid I didn't understand.
Oh, I was just wondering, did you provide your own costume for the episode? Because a lot of
Were they your own clothes,
own clothes,
or did
yes,
they buy
yeah,
them for you?
yes.
No, they from Gucci they gave me those clothes.
Oh,
And they
wow.
wanted me to show the name Gucci all the time. No, not Gucci, sorry, Gucci.
Oh, Gucci, yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I say no. I hate how do you say labels, you know? Even
Yeah,
the most I cannot I never could stand it. So I said I will wear it but without your name.
right.
So even I have the bag of Gucci, the belt of Gucci, but it's not written Gucci, but they gave it to me, you know, I was dressed by Gucci anyway.
Right, right. That often would happen.
Couldn't
Yeah,
see them.
yeah,
They
yeah.
should pay us, don't you think, Ian?
Yes, I think so. Absolutely. But often they used to get a credit. Often the costume. You know, if a designer supplied clothes to anybody, they would often get a credit, which is what they would do it for. They would do it for the credit.
Yeah, it was written, the credit, and the credit was written.
Oddly enough, apart from that dreadful overcoat, which I wear at the beginning, the grey one with the black collar, which I think is dreadful, the rest of my costumes, for the first time, I was looking at them, because, you know, Carla, I hated most of my clothes. I hated them.
Really?
But this time around, I was looking at them and I was thinking, yeah, this time around, they're actually not too bad. Apart from that appalling overcoat, everything else is okay.
Was very nice instead. I mean,
It's all right, yeah.
turning out, you know, that was very good for your character. And at the end, when, you know, we finish the episode and you go away, you're dressed all in blue.
Yes, that I like that. I thought that looks nice. That looks kind of, but again, you know, Carla, the clothes they got for me were so contemporary. They were so of that moment that within about a year, the show immediately started looking dated because of the clothing, because it was all of that moment with the flared trousers and the big collars on the shirts and things, you know. And I think it was a mistake. I think they should address me more, maybe more plainly, maybe more conservatively, which is why I quite like that episode, because on the whole, my clothes are not particularly outrageous. They're fairly
No,
ordinary, you know. Yeah.
because the costume designer, that girl,
Yeah.
you know, I'm naturally curly. She wanted me to straighten my hair, and you know, what's so bad because of getting curly. You know, when there was some wind or that, and I was dressed like with shirt like now,
Yeah.
and with that gown, and with the boots. I mean, was I was not very happy about
Yeah.
that.
Anyway, I thought you looked very nice.
Let's not, but let's not say bad things though. Well, I mean, we enjoyed it.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
a nice
Oh,
episode,
yeah.
and I'm very happy that we did. And thank
Hmm.
you, Philip, for inviting me. You know,
It's our pleasure. I was wondering, one of the very fun characters in this episode is your Ian. You have a lovely Italian assistant who's doing some of the spying for you and has a lovely sort of scooter. A gentleman called Rodfollow Bigotti. Do
The
you
young boy,
remember
the young
him?
guy, the young
oh
guy.
no,
Young guy, yes, yeah.
Is he the one, Carla, that became a banker? Is that what you're saying?
yes,
But
yes.
that's him, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
him, yes, go on.
yeah. Yeah.
What about him?
Was he quite nice? Was he quite fun? Was he
He was sweet.
he got
He
on?
was a sweet. He
Yeah.
was a kid. He was a young, nice looking, young, curly haired, young. I thought he had lots of bubble and life, and he was very animated. I thought he was charming. Yeah, 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 lovely.
Yeah.
He was talking about money all the time. You remember? You want
No,
so
really, that's what he
that's
talked
a good idea.
about. Well, he taught that with you about that because he could speak in Italian to you, but I guess with me. But yes, I just, you know.
Yeah, we became friends in that moment, but you know how we are. We lost each other.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
do you live in LA now?
In LA, yes, I have for 30
Where?
years. Yeah.
Where?
Los Feliz, just underneath, it's near the Griffith Park and the observatory and there. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Beautiful.
nice. So, yeah.
I was wondering, Carla, there's a few interiors that I was wondering, did you come back to the UK to do any shooting, or was it purely on location?
No, location in
Just
Pinewood.
location, yeah.
In Pinewood.
Yeah.
Or in,
We
and
never, we everything. Once we were in Italy or in France, the two main foreign location areas, we never, everything had to be shot there because there was some time, and it was a difficult thing because every week we would move to a new location, which meant all the hotels were booked, which meant the pressure on the director and the actors to actually get everything done in the time allotted was very, very heavy because we were having to move. We did one episode in Florence. After Florence, we moved on to somewhere else, and it was quite difficult for everybody to get everything done. Yeah.
Hmm. I was just wondering, I had a question from a viewer, Paul. He wanted to know, because of course English was your second language, did you ever forget your lines or find lines difficult, or were you quite fluent by this time? You're quite happy in being, because
no,
you're
but
obviously multilingual.
if I learn, because I did study in English, so those were my lines. I remember them.
Hmm.
Don't ask me, but
Yeah.
I remember. Well, we're not much dialogue. There is the last scene that is very nice, I think, when you
Mhm.
say to her, you are very, very good. He's dead, really bravo, Ian. Because when you find a good actor, so you respond, you respond
Yeah.
to the actor
Yeah.
that gives you. It's very
Yeah.
important. So
Yeah.
thank you.
No, thank you.
And Carly, you mentioned that you worked with Max von Sydow,
Yes.
and also Ursula Andress as well. Do you remember the two people? Were they nice to work with?
You say Max von Sydow and
Max von Sydow and Ursula Andress. She played Penny Ryder in Doctor No. Ursula Andress.
Ursula Andress.
Yeah.
Did you work with Ursula Andress, Carla?
oh, no. I
Oh
worked with
no.
Jean-Paul Belmondo, and I can tell you beautiful things about Jean-Paul and about Max von Sydow also. Two great actors. Max von Sydow to me was a king. Such an incredible man. Have you ever met with, him?
No,
And Jean-Paul
no,
Belmondo?
no.
Well, you're a man, you don't. But I was very, very, very lucky to work with both of them. And with Max von Sydow, I did the Steppenwolf,
Uh-huh.
by Hermann Hesse. And it was an incredible, powerful story. And I was very, very young. It was just before Space 1999. And of course, before ours, much
Mm.
before. So I was very young to work with Max,
Yeah,
such a
yeah,
cool
no.
guy. And so he was very generous, Ian, on the
Good,
set and
good,
as a
good.
human being also. Great actor.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Are you I want to mention Ian, just one credit as we're talking about Carla's. The Whipping Yarns with Michael Palin and Terry Jones. Was that good to do?
Oh, that was a joy, of course, because I'd never laughed so hard in my life. It was wonderful. It was lovely to be cast by them, and we did some of it in front of a live audience. Some of it was filmed. Um, yes, it was a curious thing because it was the very first of that series. It was called Ripping Yarns, but actually it was a one-off. The BBC said to Michael Palin and Terry Jones, "Can you do a funny show for us?" And they came up with this idea of doing a spoof of Tom Brown's School Days. And then the BBC came back and said, "Oh, can you make a series?" And they said, "What do you mean a series? What's the link?" And eventually they came up with the idea of doing sort of heroic Edwardian stories from that period. and they called it Ripping Yarns. But originally, that was just a one-off. That episode. It was the very first episode of the Ripping Yarns, and but Palin was saying to me, I don't quite know what we're going to do with it, but they eventually went on and made a huge success out of it. Yeah, that was great fun, that, of course. And again, it was something fun for me to do because I was usually cast in these sort of vaguely heroic roles or villain roles. And to do something silly as that and funny as that, it was a lot of fun. Yes, it was very nice. Yeah.
Oh, very, very good. And Carla, do you have a favorite character you've played, or did you like to be the damsel in distress? Do you like to be the villain? What kind of appeals to you as an
I don't
actor?
like to be the villain, but
No?
I can enjoy uh, do the villain. In fact, when on the stage I did the Three Sisters, I played Natasha. She's really the tough girl who sends all the three sisters away from the house. And I said in many interviews, on the stage I become really bad. But well, it's very interesting to play the bad guy because maybe all of us, we are bad guys and good guys. And it depends what you choose, you know, what's inside you. But it's interesting to discover that world. I like to do comedy, especially. I love brilliant things. Yes, I like it. Drama, of course, you know. But
there's nothing better than hearing
uh,
people laugh, is there? Nothing
yeah,
better.
it's so nice when you know you're like a horse. You
Yeah.
drive, you drive them, and they are there with you, and they laugh with you, they cry with you. It's fantastic. Stage is fantastic. Yeah? I prefer to work on the stage.
Yeah. So what are some of your stage favorite roles, your highlights of your stage career, Carla, that stick out?
What I did?
Oh, yes. Do you have a favorite stage role that in your career?
Yes, many, many, many. The Prometheus Bound, where I played the role of Io, the girl who becomes a cow. And I love drama. I love to do drama, you know, where you use the big voice and all that. And going from there to the comic, to the brilliant is fantastic. I did many, many plays on the stage. What can I? Many. And the Three Sisters was very important to me because I had a great director, Giorgio De Lullo. And I was very, very young, very, very thin, and he made me so powerful, you know, with a big voice and that, and so cattivo, really. And everybody wrote, Carla Romanelli, she's very impressive being so bad. She's really bad.
Right.
And did you ever do any theatre over here, Carla, in England?
Yeah, I love to go to the theater when I go to England.
No,
Yes.
have you acted here in England in the theatre?
Oh, no, 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 no. No, never. No, I'm not an English actress, but a Shakespearean actress.
But you have been over here as an audience member, seeing shows and
Yes.
are the theatre audiences very different in Italy in terms of how they respond to plays? Do you find that audiences are different from country to country?
It depends on the play also, you know. And I love the atmosphere that it is in England about theater. It's more serious. I mean, they really take care. They care about it. And they have great, great actors. It's true, no, Ian? Ian is
Yeah.
one of them. And I love English theater. I mean, those kind of theater.
If you go to theatre in States, Ian, do you notice a difference in terms of
Yes, there's one thing that they do over here in America, which drives me crazy, and that is no matter how bad the play is or how awful the actors were, they always give it a standing ovation at the end. They'll stand up at the end and applaud. And I go, it wasn't that good, guys. Everywhere else in the world, people applaud, but unless it's an extraordinary evening. Everywhere else in the world stays in their seats and does not stand up. In America, every single time, standing up and applauding like that. And I go, oh, come on, guys, you're telling the actors something that is not true, really. You're telling them that they were better or the play was better than it really was. I'm very rude over here. I sometimes just stay in my seat. I want to get up.
Because you're English.
I went to see I think it was Much Ado About Nothing that James L. Jones and Vanessa Redgrave did, and there was a after show talk, and it was not a very good version of it. It was quite experimental. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. Mark Rylance directed it, and the audience was not afraid to the faces of James L. Jones and Vanessa Redgrave to, in a very polite English way, to kind of point out kind of, it wasn't sort of working in the Q&A element. So I don't think an American audience would have dared to do that.
I'm not sure. I just think America is generally a more enthusiastic place than Europe. One of the reasons why some of us go to America is because we're attracted to the enthusiasm of the Americans. And Americans celebrate success with far more enthusiasm than we do. I'm talking about the English. I'm not sure about the Italians and the Hungarians. And so they celebrate it sometimes too much, I think, that's all. But we are a little bit jaded and a little bit more critical, I think, in Europe. Yeah.
I wanted to mention, Carla, you did a film called The Fourth Wall with Peter Lawford. What was that like?
My God, I don't recall. What's the title?
It was the Fourth Wall. So number 4 and wall.
Oh, many.
Was at the beginning of your career, yes.
Oh, I was really very young. I think it's one of my first movies, but I had a small role. It was very nice role. A comic thing, very nice. I remember I had big eyes there and a head, but don't recall much.
We don't, do we? That's the problem. I was always saying to Philip, because I've done several of these with Philip, and our audiences here, I recognize some of the names. And it's a story I've said before, is that because as working actors, we go from job to job to job to job, sometimes it's hard to remember something that happened 40, 50 years ago. It's very hard. And we struggle to remember some little detail that might be of interest, but it's not easy.
And if you think, Ian, that every time we do things, we play another role. I mean, we play a character. So so every time that we are there is with another character. So we must recall that character also. And so it's not interesting though. I love it. In this book, in the Seducing Wind that I'll send it to, it's very interesting really what happened on our world. And I even talk about the world in Hollywood when I was there when I was very young, not acting. It was a love affair. But, before I got married. But it's very interesting book, and talking about very serious things about the blacklist, At any rate, all the people that I met in Los Angeles, like Jean Renoir. Have you ever met him? He was living in Los Angeles. Great people,
Yeah.
I'm so lucky that I have a very good editor now, Jean-Luc Bertone, because he's very visionary. And he does many things like festivals, of art and theater. And I'll let you know if we come to. I come to LA for Christmas. And with my friends. Maybe we can exchange some. And but maybe we'll present the book.
Yeah.
So I would like to invite you to come and be there.
Yeah, lovely.
For the book. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And for your UK fans, Carla, you're attending the Space 1999 50th anniversary event in London in September.
Yes.
So yeah, I recommend people check that out. We're now watching the climax of the episode. This is one of the very good, as you were saying earlier, Ian. This is one of the a very nice location. Was it nice sort of having to go into the fountain and do this sort of nice sort of sequence?
Oh, Ian is there, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Ogilvy, James.
Mm.
No, Ogilvy, Aubrey,
Aubrey,
James,
yeah.
Oh, but yeah, James. Yes, yeah.
dying there.
Yeah.
No, I hated walking through that fountain.
Yeah, yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get my feet wet.
I was wondering whether you had to do it maybe more than once, but maybe for TV you just had to do it
I
the
don't
once.
remember. I
Yeah.
suspect it was a simple scene. I wasn't talking. It was just walk, 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 pick up the suitcase, walk back, you know. So we probably didn't do it more than once or twice. Again, because of the nature of how to be shooting those things, we didn't, as you remember, Carla, we didn't do very many takes, not take after take after
No,
take.
no,
We
no.
didn't do that.
It's like
Okay,
that.
we got it, move on, go on to the
Okay,
next
very
thing.
good.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very nice bit when you're chasing Stuart and he runs into the nuns at the bottom of the hill. I thought that was a nice little touch.
Yes,
Um,
yes, it was fun, wasn't it?
um,
Yes, that was good. Yeah.
but I think again, as we were saying previously, that some of the violence was a bit curtailed by producer Anthony Spinner. So there's not a big fist fight that you kind of hoping for, I think, as an audience watching. So do you think was the ending satisfying for you?
Well, none of the fights lasted very long in The Saint, partly because of that influence of that particular producer who cut back on the violence like crazy, and also uh, I think the idea was that The Saint was so efficient in the way he fought that all he had to do was and the guy would fall over. You know, this happened a lot. I always used to think, oh God, this is not going to be believable at all. You know, that this enormous giant comes at me and the Saint goes like that, and the guy falls over. Yeah, but yes, listen, fight scenes always take a very, very long time to shoot, and that's another reason why they were always kept fairly short. Is simply because we didn't have the time for them, really. You know.
Hmm. And I suppose different countries have different kind of sensibilities in terms of what they're worried about. I know America's particularly worried about nudity, whereas we're not so worried about that in the UK. I was wondering, Carla, when it comes to censorship in terms of what do the Italian censors not like violence? Is it nudity? Do they have or are they fairly sort of open in terms of what's their kind of
Well,
obsessions?
it depends. Sometimes censorship is very close-minded, you know, and they can. It depends what they are cutting.
Mm.
I yeah, I'm against censor. It depends, you know. And what do you think here?
Yes, I mean it's been relaxed over the years, hasn't it? I mean,
Yeah, very.
yeah, yeah. I mean, now in this country, I don't know about in Italy, but here now there are commercials on some of the streaming services for razor blades specifically designed for the pubic area. And when I was a child, you wouldn't see a commercial like that at all, you know. And very very, it's become much freer and easier, and I suppose that's a good thing. You
That's
know,
too much. That's too much.
it's none of my business. I'm fine with that. I just sometimes look in astonishment. Oh, really? We're allowed to do that now, are we? I must say, I don't know about you, Carla, but I wouldn't want to be a young actor now
You're right.
because now you really are expected to take your clothes off all the time. And when I was a young actor, I always wouldn't, I refused to do it. I said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm going to always keep my trousers on, always keep my trousers on. I wouldn't do them. But now you can't do that. You pretty much, the men now show as much as the girls do now, and sometimes even more, really. And I would have a hard time doing that. I really would.
I
So
I mean,
from that point of view, on a personal level, I wouldn't want to do it. But I'm glad now I don't have to because nobody wants to see an 80-year-old body. Thank goodness.
well, of course, I wouldn't do it either now too. But I did once what I thought was a good movie, and I always regretted. You know,
Yeah, really. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I stopped doing movies because of that. Because in that period, it was after those period when we met, those times, they liked nudity,
Yeah.
you say, and no, and if it is really nice, if it is really a work of art, is okay.
Yeah.
Nudity can if it is vulgar, I don't think I never did anything that is vulgar,
No.
but
Sure.
it's very silly. And really, I stopped doing movies. Imagine, I was so deeply touched about it, didn't like it. And
Yeah.
then the fight with the director, and I left the set. So that was a terrible thing, because they want to see more and more and more.
Yeah.
You understand? You say
Yeah.
no, no, no. So, and it's not, it depends. If it is a beautiful movie with a great director, and that's a work of art, what's wrong in nudity? It's
No,
us.
no, no. I also think it's quite good in comedy as well. I mean, there's quite you can get a lot of laughs out of a naked body. I just feel that now, on a personal level, I would have a difficulty doing it because I just don't never wanted to do it. All right, move on, Philip. Next question.
Yeah. I just wanted to finish off about the sort of the contradictions with the violence in the episode, because you don't really have any sort of hand-to-hand combat. There was a bit of gun use, which again we said before that guns were kind of removed from the series. But you have on the one hand it starts with somebody being shot in the head, executed, and then, which seems fine, somebody being potentially garroted by a clothesline, which of course people could, critics could argue, May Whitehouse could argue that somebody could copy that. But we can't have any fist fights, so we can have these sort of dark episodes, but not sort of some of the. So that it would have been quite frustrating, I guess, to sort of.
I think a lot of it was time. A lot of
Yeah,
it was time.
yeah.
Fist fights take time to choreograph, to arrange, to make them look good. It can take half a day or a day just to do a simple little fist fight. Whereas if you put a rope around somebody's neck and do that, it's one take. If you take a gun out and shoot, one take.
Yeah.
The moment you have choreography involved and a fist fight is always choreographed, I think that just takes time, and I think that's the reason for it more than anything else.
Absolutely. I had a question from Frederick. Ian, do you remember appearing on This Is Your Life in '79?
I do. Yes,
Was
I do.
any sort of memories from that?
Yes, it was very strange. This is the This Is Your Life program where they surprise you and they sit you down and they bring all your old friends and your family on television thing, and the person who has to arrange it is your loved one. So my then wife had to do all the arranging of who should be on, who must be excluded, who has to be on, and all the rest of it. And they have to keep this secret. And it's very, very difficult thing to do. And she managed it brilliantly, I have to say, wonderfully well. And I remember on the day I was picked up, I was told that I had to meet the publicity chief of Columbia Pictures, Columbia Movies. So wear a nice suit. So I was picked up by this chauffeur-driven car, and I was driven. And the chauffeur at one point said, "I'm sorry, sir, I've got to deliver a script to somebody. So do you mind if we just take a little detour down here? It'll only take 5 minutes." And I said, "No, of course not, no problem." So we took this thing. We ended up in a field somewhere, and there was a tent and a camera. And I thought, what the hell is this? And we were told to stop and wait. And all of a sudden, the tent opened, and out came the famous white Jaguar
Ah,
zooming up. And out of the Jaguar jumps Eamon Andrews, who was the man who ran this program with the microphone. And I suddenly realized that this whole thing had been a setup, and I was going to be doing This Is Your Life. Yeah, it was extraordinary. And then, of course, they take you to the studio and they put you in a room with no alcohol, but with plenty of water and soft drinks and some bowls of fruit. And you're sat there and you're completely separated from everybody. You don't know what's going on until suddenly the music starts, you're brought out, you're sat down, and then it starts. So the whole thing is a huge surprise. You don't know who's going to be on, you don't know who you're going to meet. It's great. It was a wonderful show. I love doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Carla, would you have watched the episode when it was broadcast? Would you have been interested to see the final product?
Yes, of course. I
Yeah.
was interested very, and I liked it.
Well, I have to say, I'm sorry about, but Carla, they had many of the ladies from the Saint. My leading ladies were
Yes.
on that show, but I think all the leading ladies that were on it were all from England. They didn't actually import anybody at all. So they was all nearly all the, but you were not there. I'm sorry to say.
No.
Yeah.
No,
And I was just I start
was the only Italian.
What?
I was the only Italian.
No, Elsa Martinelli was, but she didn't come to this show. But Elsa Martinelli was in one of the episodes, and I'm trying to think of other Italian actresses who were there. Can't remember, but there were others. Yeah.
As you mentioned, different nationalities. When you did the any of the abroad episodes, did it have to be a certain number of people had to be Italian if you're Italian, or in France was it kind of, it wasn't that kind of setup?
No, I don't think there was any
Co-production
rules.
kind
There
of
were no
thing.
rules and regulations, but obviously it was more economically sensible to employ local people, or rather than fly them in. We did bring people from England. Obviously, James Aubrey and Stuart Wilson were all brought from England. But if you could find some wonderful actor or actress like Carla to play the leading lady, that's what we did. Yeah. We had a wonderful girl whose name escapes me. I know somebody will remember it. A wonderful girl in the Venice episode, where we shot in Venice, and she was terrific. She was another. She was I think French or French Italian. She was a mixed nationality. Somebody will remember Anna. No, I can't remember her name, but somebody will.
I've been trying to find her,
Yeah, she's terrific.
but again, her name's gone for the moment. But just sort of thinking now about the episode itself. Are you both? Do you think the episode holds up quite well? Is it? Do you think it's a good episode overall?
The one we did. The one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think is a good episode. So,
Yeah.
no,
I mean, I mean, as I say, I think the only problem with it really was that we were in Florence and you wouldn't have known it. I think it was a greatly missed opportunity to show the beauties of the city of Florence, which we just simply didn't do. I don't know why. Other than that, I think the episode was okay. Yes, I mean, it had less action sequence in it than some, but I thought it was quite an intelligent episode. Yes. Again, this was Black September, wasn't it? It was one of those terrorist gangs, yeah.
yes,
And yeah, and
it was badly cut. It was badly.
Right.
Many things. For example, after the dramatic scene, at the end we are together because Ingo died, and you tell me he dies, and I do remember the fountain, and there is the close-up of that blonde actor.
Yeah.
After that emotion.
Yes.
It's impossible. So you kill the emotion,
Yeah. But again, time and the time constraints and everything. So that. Hang on one second. Speaking of time, sweetheart.
When it comes, because of course you have a lot of fans over here, Carla, for Return of the Saint, but also Space 1999. What do you get the most attention for?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Do people often ask you about Space 1999, or do you have more Space fans than Return of the Saint fans? Do you get more attention one or the other, do you think?
Well, I didn't think about these things because I'm in my world writing, and I didn't know that Space 99 was so important. For example, I didn't realize it, like the Saint, was in, and I'm happy now. Now I'm very, very happy.
Carla, how many episodes of Space 1999 did you do?
I was the leading on one episode.
Right. You were leading on one episode, right.
Yeah. I was the only Italian there. And
because you're working with Martin Landau.
Yeah, a girl Italian. There were other 3 male actors, but that's it.
There's also Barry Morse, wasn't it? And
Martin Landau was lovely.
Yeah,
lovely guy. Where we know he was great. And Barbara Bain also was lovely working with them.
Was Barbara nice to work with?
Yeah, very. Absolutely.
Carol Andre, somebody who's somebody Richard said the name of the actress in the Venice episode is Carol Andre. Did you know Carol
Yes,
Andre?
yes, yes, yes. I knew her. I knew
Yeah,
her very,
she,
very well.
she was very good.
Lovely,
She was lovely. She was fun to work with too. I
beautiful
was with her the
eyes,
whole time.
beautiful eyes.
Yeah, lovely girl. Yeah,
What
yeah.
is she doing now?
I don't know.
I think she went into behind the scenes, I think. So she worked for a studio, I think, in Italy, but whether she's now retired, I'm not sure. But try reaching out to studio, everything. But some people just like to retire and not bothered by people like me, really. But I mentioned but Barbara Bain because me and Ian share a common connection. A gentleman called Ray Austin, who directed one of Ian's episodes, and he did a lot of work on Space 1999. And Barbara Bain had a nickname, Barbara Payne. So
Oh, really?
I wondered whether occasionally she could just be a bit prickly or, a very nice lady, I'm sure, but I just wonder where sometimes she
Terrible,
might have
isn't it, Ian? Huh?
I didn't know.
Oh, my face.
Was but Philip is asking, was she difficult at all?
was she difficult? Yeah.
No,
No, she's
No,
okay. Yeah.
not to me. Not
that's
to me.
good. Right, right,
Oh, good.
No,
right.
you never know. You never
No,
know.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. One of the things that struck me about this episode is that some of the Italian actors, their English isn't as good as Carla's, and of course Stuart's English, but he's got a very good accent. When you have actors that don't perhaps pronounce the words correctly, I think that sort of took me out of the episode a little bit. Do you think that might be one of the weaknesses where they get actors in that perhaps the English isn't so good? Does that detract from the episode a bit, do you think?
I suppose a little bit. I suppose a little bit. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. I, um, I always wish that they could have spoken in their original languages and we could
That's what I
give them
was.
subtitles.
Yes,
I
that's
would
what I'm
have thought
thinking.
that's.
Mm.
But then again, when we didn't do that in those days, everybody had to speak English. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because I think once you start to sort of realize that I think it becomes false, and then you think, well, they wouldn't actually be speaking to each other
Right.
in English. So I think it kind of sort of
That's right. Yeah.
takes the
The,
veil
very,
off it.
the pretty blonde girl, her accent was very thick, and I think she was working mostly phonetically. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I mean, you accepted it in those days, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she's very good in the episode, and
Yeah,
also
Yeah,
the other heavy,
she is.
um, he's very good, and also the guy who played Carl, the blonde heavy. Again, he
yeah.
struggles a little bit, but very good performances. I was wondering, Carla, because your role in the episode is well, you have some you don't you're not in obviously in every scene. Were you a bit frustrated that you didn't have a big part in the episode? Would you have liked to have a bit more of a meaty
The line
role?
went a little bit off. I didn't hear.
Oh, I was just wondering about your role in the episode. It's not a damsel in distress, but it's were roles because I know roles in the UK back in the 60s and 70s for women were a bit sort of stereotypically the woman that needed saving by the saint. Um,
Yeah.
in Italy, was it the same thing? Women were kind of pushed into certain roles, if you know
Yeah,
what
I
I mean?
agree. Yes, it
You
was.
agree, yeah, yeah.
The
And
nice
how's
thing
that
about the
come? Yeah,
relationship I think that I had with Carla was that she's not a damsel in distress. She's not
no,
needing
no,
to be rescued. Also, interestingly, that very many times in the show, my leading ladies were somebody who I obviously was going to have an affair with. But obviously, in this episode, no, we were just going to end up friends, which is nice.
Yeah, just friends. Paolo invited you to do something. In the end, he told you, why don't you save her? But you say
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Oh,
Carla
oh.
mentioned the editing earlier. Was there anything that you recall, Ian, where you shot anything that was kind of cut, or was it very much
No,
everything in the episode was what you did,
yeah,
sort of,
everything there is
yeah,
what we did. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And do you have both of you any what your favorite moments from the episode, either your scenes or maybe just something that when you watched it you thought, oh, this is particularly good. Um, Carla?
I think again, it was something that was so long ago, it was hard to remember, really. Yeah, I don't really have a. Do you have a favorite moment, Carla? I don't think I do.
Well, the moments that I liked the end. I
Yeah,
like the moment in the terrace after you saved me and you trying to convince me to help you. And I
yeah.
say, it's my life, so I'm not afraid. No, I like that. I liked actually the character I played.
Yes, it was good. It was a good, strong character. Good,
It's
strong to an
strong.
arc. You know, you changed your mind about something. It was a interesting thing. It was more interesting than most of the lady leads, I have to say. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just some last questions have come in.
Yeah.
Rich wants to ask, is the rehearsal process very different on TV compared to theatre?
Yes. Theatre takes a very long time, and you rehearse for weeks. Movies, you rehearse quickly and you shoot it.
Yeah.
Really.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And
And then the scenes are different. Maybe you die. Maybe you die before you do a love scene before you're dead. You do a love scene, you know. It's
Yeah.
very
Philip,
and
I've got to go, oh boy, I'm
okay,
afraid.
well, I'll let it go in. Thank you very much
Yeah.
indeed
Thank you,
for talking
guys.
to me.
Carla, lovely seeing you
Um,
again, my dear.
yes.
And I hope to see you maybe in Los Angeles later in the year. It'll be wonderful. All right.
Please, along to okay.
Yeah.
I'll ask
Good.
Philip.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ian. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks, Ian. But before I let you go, Carla, do you have a favorite project in your career, something that you are most proud of?
Now,
Yes, either is because obviously, well, perhaps in your acting career, first of all, we can talk about your writing as well.
now I'm very proud. I mean, proud. You, I'm happy. I'm satisfied about the work I'm doing. Writing. I do a lot of research, and people love my book. So I know that I'm living something, you know.
Mhm.
Even for when I will fly around, there will be something here that I left where I put all my heart, my experience of a human being, and where at least I want to leave a little message of what life is, what means, and what's important in life. And I think we should, all of us, be grateful about life, what life is. That's why I think that war is the more ugliest, stupid thing that can exist because we are born to die. We are born to live, actually.
Mm.
Unfortunately, we will die.
Yes.
Unfortunately, because we shouldn't die. We should go on and live all the time. And there are human beings that they organize things in order to kill other human beings. And I'm very proud to be a real pacifist, but with my heart on my, I know real pacifist since when I was a young girl. And I would always do. And what I'm trying when they call me into the universities to talk about my book, The Valkyrie of Peace, and the young people, they don't want war, they want to live. Um, I mean, a mother, she raises up her children, she gives them milk, I mean, food, she takes care. If they have a cold, and she has to send them to the war to die. What's this? Why people is not reacting against war, Philip? Why?
I think there's obviously, I think we have if you say compared to say when World War I happened and people were very sort of patriotic and they they volunteered when they before they brought conscription in, there was this sense of fighting for your country. There was, I think, patriotism, the love of one, being said that this is go and fight for your country. You love your country, so therefore you go and fight for us. I think that is a terrible perversion that politicians, leaders kind of do to make people do terrible things. But I think there was kind of a naivety sort of certainly back in say 1914. People didn't know the horrors of war or previous wars were so different. And I think now we have.
Send you my book about the Valkyrie of
Oh,
Greece,
it sounds but that'd
because
be
they
interesting.
lived
Yeah.
all her life.
Mm,
She's trying. I don't know if I see something in my life. Maybe I did something wrong with my. At any rate, she did everything with Alfred Nobel, of course,
mm,
in order to avoid the First World War. I
right.
mean, it is so clear that the war is the most stupid thing that can. I mean, you know what Einstein said? Einstein said, if the nuclear bomb war comes, you know what he wishes us? He wishes us to die immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, how we went so far? Why? Just for business?
Mm,
I mean, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of fighting for that. At least you know that there are young people, they are doing thesis for their graduation on my book.
mm.
You
Oh
know,
wow,
young kids.
that's a great
That's the
compliment.
thing
Yeah.
I'm proud of.
Yeah. And I think that certainly I think most of the Western world is very aware now of the horrors of war. There's been so many wonderful films that show war how it is, and that they were talking about bringing back conscription in the UK. You know, you had to do military service. That was a government
My
suggested that,
God.
and of course the outrage was they said, "Oh no, we won't do it." So
No.
I think there's not that appetite for war anymore in most countries, but of course there's still conflicts going on all the time. So you think, how can we
And war,
eventually?
poverty.
Yeah.
You can see everywhere. The shops are not like before. The
No.
shops are almost empty somewhere.
Mm.
Why? What's happened? What's happened?
Because when I do go to London, there's always lots of shops that are closed. Is that the same in Italy,
See,
in Rome?
see, see.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's a bit like that. So, you know, I think Donald Trump will probably get re-elected as president, and you think why? And it's when people get desperate, they turn to people that they don't perhaps understand, like Hitler or dictators, because they're desperate and they want people to free them. And of course, these people have no interest in freeing
That's
the,
it.
they believe that we all believe what we want to hear sometimes when we're at our most vulnerable, and unfortunately people do sometimes take advantage of whole populations. And then of course you start to say, well, the problem, why you are hungry, why your business is closed, is because of these people over here. And you start to turn people on other people. So you don't realize actually you need to take out the person that's
But you
the
know what I'm
leader.
so
Yeah.
sad about, Femi?
Mm.
They say that women will save the world, there will not be war. I see something, I don't know if I don't have light, I don't know, I see something strange. Can you see me
I can
well?
see you. Yeah, I think it just might be the connection might be a bit funny. That's all.
Okay. And all the women that we have now, they love war. They go for war. Oh, if our prime minister, I'm sorry to say, I'm so upset about her. She's doing everything for war. For war. She likes to see the blood. I don't know. And I mean, the one that was reelected again, what's her name? The Ursula, what's her name? She has
Oh,
10 children and she
mm,
loves war. All the women that we have, they love war because they don't send their children to war, you know? They
mm.
don't send their children. But they like war. A woman shouldn't, you know? A woman shouldn't love war. Shouldn't.
I think some of the rhetoric, some of the 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 tone of what some people are saying, UK politicians as well, it's there's an extremism coming in
Sì, bravo.
everywhere, and that's concerning.
Yes,
Um,
yes, you're right.
yeah. But I mean, hopefully, with books like yours, and hopefully more steady, stronger minds prevailing.
Something, if you know, sometimes, Philip, if you put a seed and at least one tree is going to come out of that seed,
Yeah,
that's enough. At least you don't kill, but you give life. You know, you
yeah,
can
yeah,
give life to many things with a word, with a smile, to be sincere, to
mm.
be proud of being a human being. I mean, look at his hands, for example. It's not a miracle that we have hands.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, you know,
Mm.
it's so, we are so beautiful, and why the world is not?
It's all little things we take for granted, and I watched Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator recently, and the end speech of that when he says that as long as men die, liberty will never perish, and
Bravo,
so it
bravo, Philip.
will always beat evil, but the toll, of course, is
Yeah. You know, when I present my book, what I do, I show The Great Dictator of Charlie Chaplin. I
oh,
start
do
with
you?
him. Yes, it's
Yeah.
beautiful to start with him, you know, and people from around the world talking, and Einstein,
Mm.
and I'm so lucky. I did work with people of peace, you know, like the Dalai Lama or Andrei Sakharov or Sir Joseph Rothblatt. Did you know he was originally not, but he was living in England. He was Nobel Peace Prize 1995.
Oh,
He's the uncle of my greatest friend, Catherine's son. His name was Joseph Rothblatt, Joseph Alexander Rothblatt.
hmm.
He was the first scientist, the youngest scientist who signed the manifesto for Einstein. He was the youngest. And he was the only one who said no to the project, to the Manhattan Project, because
Right.
he said a scientist has to give life, has to work for the progress of the world,
Yeah.
not for its destruction.
Mm.
And I'm so glad I knew these people. You know, I've been working with them, and they gave me a lot, but especially my grandmother gave me a lot, and my
Mm.
mother. I mean, women who did work for the peace in the world, and
Oh,
because it's so beautiful to live again. I said to you
yeah. Oh,
again,
yeah. Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And what was the Dalai Lama like to meet? What was he like?
What did you
Oh,
say?
you say that you met the Dalai Lama.
Yes,
What
yes,
what
yes, yes.
was that?
I worked for him for his cause in Tibet, for the peace in Tibet, you know, for the freedom of Tibet. It was fantastic working with him, and he told me something great, you know, Carla, with his voice, with his deep voice, use your logic. You can listen to everything, to everybody, but at the end, use your logic. And that's the philosophy of the Buddhism, the
Mm.
logic, you know,
Yeah.
which is beautiful. It's not a religion, it's a
Mm.
philosophy.
Yeah.
And such a nice human being he is. You know, you can even Sakharov, Andrei Sakharov was
Mm.
the Nobel Russian Nobel. I did stay with him and his wife for 3 days in Venice. I prepared for them a big symposium and a conference on science and peace with Professor Carlo Rubbia. I was working for Professor Carlo Rubbia. I did many, many things in my life. That's what I like, you
Mm.
know? It's very important to do everything. Huh? So
Yeah.
when from art, when I told you I was upset about the movie in Italy, movies like they were in Italy, I went from art to science.
Mm.
And and I went back and to writing. So it's so beautiful until, you know, I will live. I like to live, as we say, young and sane. Even if you are 200 years old, you must be young inside. Young inside, you
I
know?
think that's what keeps us young. Partly is our it is our philosophy, our attitude, and our approach to things. I agree. I thought it was quite interesting that when Germany fell, they found a list of films that Hitler had requested to watch, and he had watch The Great Dictator. Obviously, completely
Ah,
missed the point of it, but he
ah,
did see it. He did see it.
I didn't know it.
I think it was 3 times he requested to watch it. I think that they found in documents. So
That's
no,
why he committed suicide.
we'd like to think it helped, but I don't think he, like any monster, they don't realize that they're monsters, unfortunately. But
He should have committed suicide after seeing The Great Dictator. You know?
it would have stopped the war quite,
Yes,
a few years before.
everybody should see it, and I show it all the time. That thing. And
And
my father-in-law was a great friend with Charlie Chaplin.
oh wow,
My father-in-law, his name was Bosley Crowder, and he was the film critic for the New York Times. And he was called the incorruptible. Incorruptible. Nobody could buy him. Everybody was afraid of him. Even Hitchcock was afraid of him. Can you imagine?
yeah,
Even Hitchcock, because he
yeah,
was so real. And what he did about Italian was very good. You know, he brought all the neorealism, and he made neorealism being known in the States, everywhere. He was a great, great man. He was the first man who brought his voice aloud against the blacklist,
mm,
against the McCarthyism.
hmm,
That was against his life and his career, but he did it. I'm so proud that I was his daughter-in-law.
oh
You know,
yes, it's quite
I bear
something.
his name, Crawler.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
bear his name, and great man. And so he was really a great father for me.
hmm.
But can you see me? Because I don't see me anymore, you know?
Oh,
No, I
I can see
see,
you okay. It's a little bit fuzzy, but I can see you okay.
but it's
Um,
something is there in
Maybe just
front of
the
me.
time of day, perhaps. But you mentioned the Manhattan Project, and but if
Yeah.
anybody hadn't seen Oppenheimer, a brilliant film,
I
really
did see the movie.
is very good, isn't it? And I
Uh,
did an event for a TV show called The Protectors, which had Robert Vaughn in it, and it was 73, so a few years before Return of the Saint, and the whole plot was about whether the effect of dropping the bombs on Japan, and whether it was a force for ultimate good in terms of bringing a lasting peace, and whether or not you needed something again like that to kind of unite the world. And it led to a very interesting discussion as to the merits of doing
well,
something awful
if you
and
go
what
and
it can.
find Joseph Rothblatt, which is
Mm,
it's very famous in London,
yeah.
and what he says about it, he's the one again. He's the one who say no to that project.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay?
I,
And
I,
said Oppenheimer said yes.
yeah. I mean, I think if you say look at Ukraine, that's a perfect example of where having nuclear weapons is a bad thing, because you can't help them because Russia will destroy the world. On the other hand, it may stop world conflicts like world wars with the threat of nuclear weapons, but it means that other things that are seen as smaller, you can't stop the bullies. So
Einstein says with the nuclear wars, we better die immediately, as I
yeah,
told you before.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, if that's silly to go on and to risk that.
mm,
That's silly. That's silly to send army and not to use the brain, not to send brains.
yeah,
If you have
mm,
people that get together with great mind, like the Dalai Lama, though,
yeah,
you must
yeah,
be a great person.
mm,
But they are all very small. That's why I use arms, Philip, because
yeah,
they are very small and they feel so powerful because they can send arm and kill.
yes,
Who's
yeah,
very strong doesn't need arms. He
no,
has power here, and that's
yeah,
what I hope for this world, that the arm will be only in the. I mean, the arm will be the intelligence, the logic,
mm,
the
yeah,
respect, mutual respect, Stop with the war. Philip, do something.
Well, yeah, I think the other great shame is that those that would be good in power don't really want it, and those that will go crazy want to get power, which is probably why you end up with the wrong people in charge. It's not because there's not good people
They
around.
become the
They just
same.
want-
They are the same.
Yeah.
Black, yellow, white, they become the same. Power is a crazy thing. Power, it is like a dog. If if you can, say hello to your dog, but when the dog is on over you, so like the beast takes you over, the beast. I don't know. I don't see me anymore. Maybe I'm disappearing in front of you.
That's what I've still got you, but yeah, I think it's a very interesting area certainly that we've explored, and but I think it's about us all doing a little bit, isn't it? And sound like you're doing more than your share of trying to sort of spread the message of peace. And if we all do a little bit, then we can make the world a better place, even if it's just in a small way. And I commend you for doing that.
Listen, Philip, until when we must, I enjoy being with you, but because I have to leave very, very early tomorrow morning.
Oh yeah, yes, I was just going to wrap up. So well, thank you very much for
What are
talking
you
to me. It's been really
what
good.
are you seeing now? Are you still with our Return of the Saint or not?
Oh yeah. So we're all done now. So I was just interested in
Don't cut
having.
my seed. Don't cut my.
No. We've all covered all the best bits and your lovely scenes, and I think it's a really great episode, and it's been lovely to talk to you about it this evening.
You were very nice calling me for that, and really, I really thank you. And maybe we can exchange message through Messenger. Okay,
that'd be lovely. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and,
Well. Well, take care. Enjoy your trip tomorrow, and wish you all the best of everything in the future.
do you mind if I go because I?
Oh yeah. Please, have a good trip tomorrow, and I'll speak to you again in the future.
Because I
Hopefully.
have to leave at 5 o'clock.
Oh well,
They come and pick me up, and because it's very hot here, so we better go when it's very, very.
Oh, in the morning, yeah.
My car is very old, also.
Well, I'll let you go and get some rest, and
So, Philip, I
thank you
hope
very
I can
much.
see you again. Okay.
Yeah, that would be lovely. Yeah.
Ciao.
That'd be great.
Ciao.
Take care. Ciao. Bye.
I close. Okay.
Oh yeah. Great. Thank you.
Sorry to go.
That's
Ciao.
fine. Bye. Ciao.